The New York Jets have a lot of interesting decisions they have to make in these next few weeks. The trade deadline is right around the corner. We're hearing some players hinting that they're going to get traded from the Jets or they want out on social media. We have some Jets players responding to them being, talked about in trades. We have a report that just came out today about a player that just got released. And we also have an injury update. We have a lot to break down. Is Aaron Glenn to blame with this situation? Will the Jets sell or will they hold at the trade deadline? What's the 2026 vision? We have a game Sunday to preview. That's not even the bye week because usually the Jets go after, go into a bye after London, but not this year. There's a lot of topics I have lined up for you guys. So make sure you smash the like button. Smash the like button on your way in, man. Really do appreciate you guys as always. Now, the first thing we have to talk about is this report. Jermaine Johnson is a name that has come up for several teams in need of edge help in trade discussions. Sources told Connor Hughes of SNY. It would take a lot for the Jets to part with Johnson. A team involved in those conversations said the Jets better not trade Jermaine Johnson. That would be absolutely ridiculous if they did that. I made a whole video explaining why. If you guys want to check that out on my YouTube channel, I said the Jets better not do this. I mean, we know what we're talking about. And I'm like, there is no way the Jets are going to trade Jermaine. I mean, that's just me as a fan hoping that they won't. But you never know. We've seen crazy things happen with this fan base, with this team. Now, another thing that happened is Breece Hall posted this on Instagram. They want to lay me down, but I got something to stand for. Hashtag free 20. And you have Malachi Corley liking it and Leonard Taylor reposting it, which we'll get into in a sec. But Breece Hall, hashtag free 20. Listen, that could just mean feed me. That can mean all these different things, but I think we all know what it means. He probably is hearing from his agent that, yes, the Jets are probably going to trade you. He is feeling like it's inevitable. And at the end of the day, it's simple, man. If the Jets don't look at Breece Hall as a running back, they want to be part of the long-term future. You trade him, you get some type of pick in return. I think it'll be like a 4th or a 5th round pick. Nothing higher than that because it is a rental. And the Breece Hall era is coming to an end. I'm definitely going to admit that Breece Hall is on his way out. I'm not going to blindly, ignore the truth anymore. I think that Breece Hall's time with the New York Jets is officially coming to a close, folks. It's coming to a close. And we also have to talk about this news here. The Jets got word from Garrett Wilson. His knee is a hyperextension, and he is going to be out for a couple of weeks. Hopefully he's okay because he's our only good talent we have on our offense, especially with Breece potentially walking out. Arian Smith, number 1 receiver season. That's the only thing I can say about that. And then, we also saw a few hours ago, or not even, Jets defensive tackle Leonard Taylor III has been released. I really liked him. He was a player I liked. So he is a guy that the Jets are deciding to move on from, a 2024 undrafted free agent. Oh, boy. So make sure you guys hit the like button. Really do appreciate you tuning in, man. I really, really do appreciate you guys tuning into this show as you always so kindly do, man. So, hit the subscribe button. We're close to 30K. There's a lot we have to get into today, folks. There is a lot that we have to get into when it comes to these New York Jets. So let's start it off. And I want to give a big shout out to everybody in the chat. Let's go. Richie, did you check up on Dan? We had our 4th and Forever episode today. Make sure you guys check that out. We had a whole deep breakdown about that Bills-Falcons game last night. Do you think Breece would be sad to go? No, I think he's ready to go, unfortunately. Yeah. Everyone's getting traded, Richie. We'll see. I mean, definitely feels like that. Jermaine is out too. I refuse to believe that Jermaine's going to get traded. I refuse to believe that. You guys let me know in the chat. Patriots fans want Breece Hall now. Oh, my gosh. You guys are making me sick to my stomach. You guys are making me sick. Richie, do you think the Jets would trade him to the Patriots? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Absolutely not, man. We also have Jermaine Johnson responding on X about his name being brought up in the trade conversation. Right when the Jets, that report came out about Jermaine Johnson's name, he went out there and tweeted this emoji, raising the eyebrows. So let's hope, man, that the Jets do not trade Jermaine Johnson, because I think that would be a gigantic mistake, but you never know. And the man that's responsible for these decisions, let's talk about him. Do you believe the New York Jets should fire Aaron Glenn? Do you think there's a chance that he is going to be a one-and-done head coach? Or do you think the Jets should keep Aaron Glenn and you're still holding out hope? Well, I'm going to give you 5 reasons why the Jets should not fire Aaron Glenn, because I'm hearing a lot of people saying that he needs to be out of here, and you're already sick of him. You want him fired today, or you want him fired in the offseason. And in this video right here, I'm going to break down why you should not feel that way. Now, listen, I'm also a Jets fan that is obviously accepting and respecting everybody's opinion, right? Everybody is entitled to believe what they want to believe. They can formulate their own perspective of what's going on with the New York Jets. It's been 14, now 15 years of no playoffs. Jets fans are frustrated, and of course, they're going to blame it on the head coach, and he has not won a football game yet, and obviously, the frustration is loud, and he signed up for this job. Aaron Glenn is not, blind to the idea of he signed up for this job, understanding it's not going to be easy. He knew it was going to be a tough storm, and I told you guys before the season started, it's going to get ugly before it gets pretty. And I did not expect it to get this ugly. So I'm going to break down my 5 reasons. Make sure you guys hit the like button and subscribe here to Jets Media if you're new, and comment down below where you are. Maybe there are some reasons you want to keep them. Are you completely selling your stock? Because there's a lot of opinions out there around Jets fans. And I think it's only Jets fans are really talking about this. But hey, that's why we have to talk about it here as Jets fans. So reason number 1, the reason is, of course, I believe that this locker room and these players, they want to rally around Aaron Glenn. They still believe in him. Players are publicly backing Aaron Glenn, of course. There's no sign of a fractured locker room just yet, in my opinion. I honestly believe that. And I think that what we're going to see at the trade deadline is Aaron Glenn shipping off the players that are not, even if there are some players that are not bought in, you're going to see that happening. There's going to be a purge here. And all the players that are on this football team was majorly inherited by Aaron Glenn. And obviously, he needs to be able to figure out ways to coach up these players to fit his system. But there's some guys like Malachi Corley, for example, did not fit him. He was not afraid to release him before the season started. He gave Xavier Gibson a chance. He made a mistake. He's like, you know what? Gibson's not part of our long-term plans. We're going to get rid of him. And there's going to be a lot more of those guys that's going to get removed from this team. So I honestly still believe this team believes. And obviously, the players publicly backing Aaron Glenn in the press conferences and stuff, that's not everything. I'm not blind to the Garrett Wilson getting into Aaron Glenn at halftime, questioning what the plan was. And when he was, asked about the plan and he was told about it, Garrett Wilson was like, I'm disappointed in that. So obviously Aaron Glenn is learning on the fly as a head coach. There he really, really is. But I do feel like, from the most part, I'm seeing the Jets are still all in. Now, another reason to believe in Aaron Glenn and just give him some time is this. Yeah, he's a defensive-minded head coach. This defense has been absolutely buns throughout this entire season, but you are seeing some signs of this defense breaking through. The game against the Denver Broncos was a fantastic game for the Jets defense. I thought that seeing Jermaine Johnson come back, do not trade him, Jarvis Brownlee Jr. in the slot, Malachi Moore at the safety position, there's a new energy on that defense. You finally saw the vision of Aaron Glenn and Steve Wilks come together, but now they have to stretch it against the Carolina Panthers coming up. They have to show consistency on defense. And listen, we're 6 games into the season, and that's why I'm sorry if I'm not going to I don't mind other fans. Everybody's entitled to believe how they want to feel, but I feel this way, and this is why I want to express it in this video with you guys, is simply because I do not want to just throw everything that we were excited about Aaron Glenn in the garbage because of 6 games. He needs to be held accountable for all the issues on this football team. But I'm somebody that's going to give him a chance to learn from his mistakes. I'm going to be someone that's going to give Aaron Glenn, who decided to come to the New York Jets because he was drafted here. He has ties to the organization. He wanted to be the one to turn around this Jets football team. That means something to me. So I'm a Jets fan that's going to root for him in his failures and allow him to learn from these mistakes he's making as a head coach, because there are alarming things. I'm not blind to that. It's not just the performance of the quarterback of Justin Fields, the offense as a whole, the defense throughout the season. All these things are a mess, but you also got to evaluate, how does Aaron Glenn operate during games as a head coach at the end of first half? What's the operations? What are the decisions you make at the end of the game as well? So I think all of those things are definitely aligned here with Aaron Glenn's New York Jets, and you got to be critical with him. We got to hold him accountable, just like he's going to hold himself accountable. But I guess my approach to it is, I want Aaron Glenn to be the guy so bad that I'm not ready to throw him out. I'm not ready to just say fire him and move on from him, because the Woody Johnson, he's invested into Aaron Glenn financially. I find it hard to believe that the Jets are going to move on from him. I really do not think he's going to be a one and done. And if he is, I would put my right hand up and say, you know what? That's what happened. I was wrong. And that's an absolute devastating situation if that does happen. Now, let's be honest here. If the Jets go from, Robert Saleh to Aaron Glenn, and then we just fire him after one season, that's not a good thing, because you bring in a new coach next year with the top pick. And now, yeah, I understand, the Jets are maybe going after an offensive head coach to pair with a young quarterback. That could be the philosophy here. But, if you thought Aaron Glenn was going to come in here in year one and just turn us into an absolute, really good football team, I don't know. I wasn't expecting that. I guess that's another reason why I'm not on that train yet. To fire him is I had low expectations this year. I really did. I mean, going into the season, you're obviously hopeful. Okay, maybe this can work out. Maybe that could work out. But this is the lay the foundation year. And honestly, the only thing that's going to solve Jets fans to maybe buy into Aaron Glenn, it's one thing and one thing only, and that's winning football games. And that's the reality of it, man. Aaron Glenn's got to coach this team up and go win some games. Because if they go 0-17, if they go 1-16, then we're going to have that conversation. But I don't know if the Jets are going to go 0-17. I don't know if they're going to go 1-16, because I look at what they did against the Denver Broncos, and there was literally just they fixed all their issues that they've had the first 5 weeks, and then they created a new issue. And that's the sad part about that game against the Broncos, because there was progress from Aaron Glenn that we're not even allowed to look at because of all the incompetencies that came to the surface. In that game, there's 3 reasons why the Jets are 0-5 heading into Denver in London against the Broncos. Penalties, turning the ball over, not forcing turnovers, and the defense. Those are all major issues why the Jets were 0-5 entering that game. And all of those issues got solved in one game. We only had 2 penalties. We forced the turnover, won the turnover battle, and the defense balled out. Those 3 things got fixed in a game. And that's on the coaching staff to fix those issues. But the problem now is there's a new issue that came. And that's Justin Fields, and that offense has took a major step back. So that's why I'm a Jets fan that looks at it from this lens. He's figuring out ways to fix issues on the fly, Aaron Glenn and his coaching staff, and I'm going to give him his time and give him his space to figure this out, because this is the NFL. It's unfortunate that the New York Jets have been so bad for so freaking long, and there should be frustration. There should be anger. I have it all too. As you guys can see, I'm very expressive, but I'm not going to be out here and just not going to give Aaron Glenn even a chance to learn from his mistakes, not even giving him an opportunity to build this team with his vision, because he has his own vision with this football team. He does, and we're not going to be able to see it until he gets a draft class or 2 underneath his belt. He has 1 draft class, which, by the way, I actually think is doing pretty good. Armand Membu is playing really good football at right tackle. Mason Taylor, he unfortunately does not get a lot of looks in the passing game, but when he does, he makes plays. He looks like a reliable guy. Arian Smith, the Jets rookie wide receiver, he's going to get a big opportunity now at Garrett Wilson's sideline, so let's see what he looks like. But Kiko Mauogwa, all right? I always say his last name wrong, but this is a guy that absolutely is stepping in for Quinnen Williams and making some plays. Azareye'h Thomas, in a very small sample size, I like his upside. Malachi Moore making some plays. And the reason why I bring it up the rookies here is because that is the type of players the Jets are trying to build with this foundation for the long haul. And yeah, he's not even close to perfect Aaron Glenn. There's so many flaws to him as a head coach. But I do feel like there are some reasons to not believe. And I also want to say this as another reason. Instability hurts development, man. Because if we go in another coaching change mid-season, like there needs to be continuity in order for anything to thrive, in my opinion. Yes, of course, there's first-time head coaches going to other teams and turning it around. But this is a guy in Aaron Glenn that, in my opinion, like you got to give him like a year 2 in the system. Let me remind everybody that always says Robert Saleh's defense was at least good. How come Aaron Glenn's defense is not good? Robert Saleh's defense stunk in his first year. It was bottom of the league. And then the Jets that year, remember, the offseason, they added Sauce Gardner, they added talent on the defense, and then all of a sudden, Robert Saleh's and Jeff Ulbricht's defense went from 29th ranked to top 5 in a year. Now, I'm not going to say that's guaranteed with Aaron Glenn and Steve Wilks, but getting another year of adding talent to a defense and another year of coaching up this defense, year 2 in the same system, continuity absolutely matters. And if you're just ready to hit the reset button every single year after incompetencies, I don't know what else to tell you, because the Jets are not going to be able to thrive under those circumstances, in my opinion. That's how I look at it. I really do genuinely believe that if you are just looking at this team and you just want to hit the reset button every time there's failure, there'll never be an opportunity for this team to figure it out. Because if you're just so reactionary and ready to pull the rug before there's any type of progress, you're not giving them that opportunity. Adversity is an opportunity to find growth. And Aaron Glenn said that when he became the Jets head coach. We're the New York Jets. We're built for this. Now, we have not seen that yet, but all it takes is one, bro. It takes one of those games that they taste victory and there could be a breakthrough. There absolutely could be a breakthrough. And the one thing about Aaron Glenn that I respect is he does hold himself accountable, and his leadership is something that I actually like. He openly admits his mistakes. In the press conference, he'll say one thing, and then he watches the tape. The next day, he'll maybe say, you know what? I got to be better than that. Because the way he operated at the end of that first half against Denver was absolutely terrible. I hated everything about it. He held himself accountable. That's a learning experience for Aaron Glenn. And I think that's the thing. I guess I have a different perspective on things than others is I look at these mistakes that he's making as a head coach, just like the quarterbacks in the league, any position, any player, coaching staff. You take these mistakes as learning experiences. As long as you don't repeat the same mistakes over and over again, that's when we have some issues. If we have another opportunity where Aaron Glenn looks like that bad in terms of managing a situation at the end of a half, then we have some big problems here. But I'm going to give him an opportunity to learn from these mistakes in 6 games. So I feel like he defends his players publicly. He of course holds his players accountable. At the same time, he is very publicly backing of his quarterback, Justin Fields. And I think that also, pisses some people off. But like, what do you want him to do? Just rip into him? What he said about Justin Fields is 100% accurate. He looked at the tape and he said Justin Fields had a bad game. But that does not mean he's just going to pull the plug and bench him because of one bad game. And listen, I understand people want Tyrod out there, but like, I'm not going to go to the bench Fields case yet unless he goes back out there against Carolina and he completely sells and looks absolutely trash. Then we'll be talking about that. He's had 2 bad games this year. The Bills game was just like he got knocked out in the third quarter. But that game against the Broncos was so bad for Justin Fields, so bad. And then the last thing I want to say when it comes to Aaron Glenn, and I know this is very, it's not guaranteed, so it's hard to bring this example up. But you look at what the Detroit Lions were when Aaron Glenn was hired there to be the defensive coordinator with first-time head coach Dan Campbell. They started 0-10-1 in their first 11 games. It took them to week 12 to get their first win. And there's no guarantee that the Detroit Lions story is going to be replicated here, but I'm at least going to cling on to that because the Detroit Lions are a perfect example of an organization that has been absolutely trash for decades. And it took just continuity and belief and trust in a team to figure themselves out before they were able to break through. They get a win at the end of that season. They win the last, at the end of the year in their first season, they won some games. They eventually won 3 games, I think, that season. And then they started off the season in year 2, 1-7. 1-7 the Lions were in year 2. But you know what happened? The ownership of the Detroit Lions, they, after all the media was clowning Dan Campbell, they felt like he should be fired. He's won 4 games in a season and a half. His record was 4-17-1. And what happened was the Detroit Lions ownership privately and publicly backed Dan Campbell, Aaron Glenn, and Ben Johnson and the entire coaching staff. And when they did that, and when Dan Campbell felt the stress off his shoulders of my job is on the line, and he felt publicly and privately backed by his owner, that's when everything broke through. Then all of a sudden, the Lions go on a winning streak. They win 8 of the last 10 games. They finish off the season 9-8. And then year 3 is when everything broke free and the Detroit Lions are as great as they are right now. Now, the Lions story, again, is not guaranteed that it's going to happen with the Jets, but that is just an example. And the reason why it's an important example is because Aaron Glenn lived it. He was part of the story here. He was also part of the story when he was a player with the Jets, when they won 1 game and Bill Parcells came and it took him a bit to turn it around. And Bill Parcells has even talked to him. Bill Parcells had some bad years. There's a lot of coaches that had some tough starts. Kyle Shanahan started winless. So all these things I'm saying does not guarantee that Aaron Glenn's going to break free. But that's why I'm not just ready to just throw it all in the garbage right now. That's how I look at it. So you guys let me know in the comments if you agree or if you disagree. Hit the like button if you enjoyed this video. I really, really do appreciate you guys, as always, tuning in to Jets Media. So it's tough, man. And I understand there's a lot of people that probably, agree with what I'm talking about, disagree with what I'm talking about, but that's kind of how I look at it, man. That's how I look at it. So, shout out to everybody tuning in the chat. I really do appreciate you guys, as always, for becoming a loyal part of this Jets media world, man. You guys are awesome. I feel like it's big time. It's big time. And someone in the chat said something I'm looking for right now. Where was it? Where was what I just saw? Something about, yeah, I don't know. I lost it. But listen, man, shout out to you guys. And if you disagree, that's okay. I'm not afraid to be someone that people disagree with. I'm not here to be a people pleaser. I'm just here to express my perspective of things. That's all. And if you respectfully disagree, that is totally okay. That is totally okay too. So, but now we have a bigger topic that we need to get into. We have a big thing to talk about now. The trade deadline is fastly approaching, folks, and Breece Hall's future is in question. Jermaine Johnson, could he get traded? Quinnen Williams, perhaps? Quincy? I mean, there's a lot of guys that the Jets could consider trading away as the trade deadline is fastly approaching. I really do believe that this is going to be one of those trade deadlines that's going to be the darkest of times for us Jets fans. And the reason is simple. The Jets are about to trade away a lot of our favorite players. And I know if you're a Jets fan, you have a different approach of who's your favorite player. Some fans are ready to get rid of every single player on this team because we haven't won with them. Other fans are still attached to the idea of Breece and Jermaine and Sauce and Quinnen and the guys in the core that we have grown to be attached to. We're not ready to ship them away. So this is where we have to talk about it. What's the trade deadline strategy for the New York Jets? What type of capital could they get back? What players are actually going to get traded? Will they sell or will they hold? As the Jets trade deadline strategy is going to be on full display right here, right now. Now, we heard from Breece Hall on social media. I do feel like that is interesting that we do have to start it off with. Breece Hall did go on Instagram and he made an interesting post saying hashtag free 20. Now, if you're a Jets fan and you're looking at that, I'm sure, it is going a little bit viral right now. If you guys did not see it, he made a caption saying they want me to lay down, but I got something to stand for. Hashtag free 20. Now, again, we don't know what this means. It could mean just give me more carries. I want more looks, or it means get me out of here. I want to get traded. My guess is that's exactly what it is. I expect Breece Hall to get traded. And it's sad, and I first want to start off with it's devastating to watch a guy like Breece Hall, his talent, not fulfill what we all thought it was going to be. When the Jets drafted him and traded up for him early in the second round of 2022, after getting Garrett Wilson and Sauce Gardner and Jermaine Johnson in the first round, it's like that was the best draft you could possibly imagine, and it has not led to any wins, unfortunately. So that's a tough, very tough pill to swallow, no doubt about it. But I think when it comes to Breece, he was so good in his first 6 games as a rookie, and then he tore his ACL, and he never was the same. He never was the same after the ACL. He doesn't have the same explosiveness. He doesn't have the same ability to make people miss in the open field. He doesn't have the breakaway speed. He gets caught from behind a lot. And I'm still a Breece fan, and I'm rooting for him. But at the end of the day, he has never lived up to that type of talent. And I thought that if he did not tear his ACL, he was on track to win Rookie of the Year, which Garrett Wilson eventually won, of course, and Sauce Gardner. But he was going to become, at least in my opinion, one of the top running backs in the NFL, and he never fulfilled that. And the reality is this: when you're the New York Jets, when you look at Breece Hall, are you going to trade him? Because if you're not going to extend him and make him part of your long-term plans, you must trade him. There's no other option. Unless you let him walk in free agency and you get nothing in return. This is an opportunity for the New York Jets to get every single piece of capital they can to rebuild this team in the vision of Aaron Glenn and Darren Muji for next offseason, if they're still around, which I think they will be, but you never know, of course. Crazier things have happened. So I think that the value for a trade for Breece Hall could be a 4th or a 5th round pick. I don't think it would be anything better than that. They'd be lucky to get a 3rd. Maybe the Jets can package Breece in a 5th and get back a 3rd, maybe. But I think that at the end of the day, the Jets are probably just going to get a day 3 pick. And a big reason for that is the value is not as high as some people think for Breece Hall. He is looked at as a rental, right? You can look at teams like the Chargers. I don't know if they trade for Breece because they got Amari in Hampton, but he's injured. Najee Harris is injured. So they can use some help in the backfield for the Chargers. The Chiefs, if they want to get another upgrade, I know that the Patriots fans are trying to get Breece from the Jets. I hope not. I really hope the Jets do not trade him to the Patriots because they could definitely use him. I mean, the Patriots' run game is the one thing that's lacking over there for that football team. They have not really had a run game, and Drake May has to throw the ball over the place, but I hope the Jets do not give him over to that organization. But wherever Breece does go eventually, I hope that the Jets get some type of good asset in return. He is a guy that is not part of this future of this team. And the fact that he went out there publicly and said that, I'm definitely expecting him to be gone. And it's sad. And with Braylon Allen injured, I mean, the Jets are going to have Isaiah Davis as their running back moving forward? I mean, we're definitely entering a dark time right now. A dark, dark time for these Jets. A very dark time for these Jets. So that's the Breece Hall situation. Now, going back into some other players, we saw a report we already talked about, but according to Connor Hughes of SNY, there's some teams, calling the New York Jets about Jermaine Johnson. Now, that better not happen for a lot of different reasons. And I made a video on the channel earlier in the week that you guys better go check out because I already broke it down, but we're going to break it down a little bit more right now. If you missed the report, Connor Hughes said that it would take a lot for the Jets to part with Johnson, but that there's teams calling the Jets about Jermaine. Jermaine Johnson responded on social media with a emoji raising his eyebrow. He's like, what? Why is my name being talked about? Again, I made a video about this already, that the Jets better not trade Jermaine Johnson. If there was an untouchable on this football team, I think there's a few untouchable players. Jermaine Johnson is one of them. Absolutely one of the untouchable players that you just do not want to trade away because you saw him come into the game against the Denver Broncos and completely transform everything. Like the Jets defense was so bad all year. You bring Jermaine Johnson back, plug him in over Michael Clemens. Like that's a guy you want to build around. He's still young. I know he's coming off an Achilles injury, and I know he's coming off an injury as well. And there are some injury concerns with Jermaine Johnson. That's not something you can just ignore, of course. But I'm willing to roll the dice with a guy that is a born leader, that provides a lot of energy, that can get to the passer, that can stop the run, and overall be that alpha male on the football field. And to be frank with you guys, the Jets need more of them. The Jets need more Jermaine Johnsons, not less. There's no player that you're replacing Jermaine Johnson with in a draft. Like that's a guy that is everything about what you want to build towards. So I really hope the Jets do not trade away Jermaine Johnson. The only way the Jets trade him away is, again, if they get a lot of picks in return, and maybe they get a first, maybe a second. But like, I don't even want to keep talking about this, bro. Jermaine Johnson is a guy that's paired up with Will McDonald. You want to keep Will and Jermaine Johnson happy long-term. And we also have a year of control left. So it's not like we're forced to pay Jermaine this offseason. We can have him go into his 5th year. And if you want to do the franchise tag situation, go ahead. But like, the edge rusher position is an absolute premium. And that's something you just don't want to just ship away. The running back position with Breece Hall, yeah, I mean, you can convince me, trade away. You can replace Breece. But Jermaine Johnson is not a replaceable player. The edge position is a premium in this league. You don't want to give up a guy like Jermaine, who is not even in his prime yet. That's someone that's turning into a star in this league. Let's not forget what he was about to do last year before he tore his Achilles. And you saw it on full display. Like, the Jets defense leveled up to a new realm with him on the field. They were the best they've been all year against the Broncos. So I really hope that's not going to happen. Now, another untouchable, in my opinion, is Sauce Gardner. And I think that may be a little bit controversial amongst you Jets fans. Some people will be like, what do you mean, Richie? Trade Sauce away. First of all, I don't think anybody would want to trade for Sauce because of the contract that we just signed for him. He literally is fresh off of a contract extension. I would be shocked if he is even being discussed in a trade. This is my perception of Sauce Gardner, man. I think that there is a narrative around the NFL that Sauce Gardner is overrated. He's not worth the contract. And that he's a bad football player. He's not good. And I think the problem with Sauce right now is that it's very simple in my eyes. He's not living up to the talent that us Jets fans have in him. He's not first team All-Pro. That means he's trash. And that's not fair to Sauce, in my opinion. He is obviously not playing lockdown football. He's not doing what we want. He's not getting interceptions. He's still not making plays. And when you're paid the big bucks, you're expected to make those plays. But I think there's a narrative that he's just a bad football player. I could not disagree more. He is still tight in coverage. He is asked to do a lot now. And by the way, everybody was begging Robert Saleh and Jeff Ulbrich to have Sauce Gardner travel. And he's doing that finally. Sauce Gardner's asked to shut down the other team's best receiver. He's following the number one receiver everywhere, and that's not an easy task. And I feel like Sauce right now, he's still a guy that I want to build through. The secondary is trash around him. Luckily, Jarvis Brownlee made an impact. Malachi Moore showing some strides, but there's not a good thing happening in that secondary, and I'm not ready to ship him away right now. And I'm looking at this from the trade Sauce perspective. Like, there's one thing to say he needs to play better. He does. And I'm going to still hold out that Sauce can become a big household name on that secondary that Aaron Glenn can build with. So I really do think that, Sauce is not a guy that I'm ready to give up on, but you guys let me know if you guys agree or disagree. Now, let's get into Quinnen Williams here. Quinnen Williams, I do not want to trade either, but it's a possibility. And the reason for it is the age and the guaranteed money has ran out. Quinnen has a decision to make because he could easily force his way out if he wants to, because he's going to ask for a pay raise in the offseason because he deserves it. His guaranteed money's out. And I feel like the Jets could easily say, all right, well, we're not going to give you that money. So now what? And then he can demand to be traded because he wants to win. He wants to win. And this is a guy that you look at the age, he definitely is somebody that you can argue, okay, will he be around when the Jets start winning at 30, 31? Now, the way I look at it is this, bro. He is the captain of this defense. He is an absolute dog. I don't want to trade Breece. I don't want to trade Quinnen. I meant to say Quinnen, not Breece, because he's such a guy that is not replaceable. A natural-born leader, been through it all. But if this Jets' team is really in deep, deep rebuild mode, you could get a lot. He is your most valuable piece on this team. And I think that's where this Jets regime is going to do. You look at what Joe Douglas did when he came here. He flipped Jamal Adams for 2 first-round picks, and that turned into Garrett Wilson and Elijah Vera Tucker. Now, I'm not going to sit here and glaze Joe Douglas. I'm not at all, actually, because he had a lot of misses. But that was one thing he did well. He came here and he flipped the player. And now he traded away Sam Darnold, which I think was a giant mistake. He should not have done that. He should have kept Sam, build around Sam. But that's another conversation. But my point is, when new GMs inherit a team, usually they like to trade away, especially when you're not in a win-now mode, which the Jets are not in. Newsflash, the Jets are not in win-now mode. They say they are, but they're just not. They got to blow it up right now, and that's why we're talking about this heading into the trade deadline. I don't think Quinnen gets traded at the deadline, but I will say that there is something that could brew in the offseason because Quinnen wants to win, and I think that is definitely something that you need to consider. So you guys let me know where you stand on the whole trade strategy. Do you think there's other guys that could be traded? Michael Carter II is a name. Quincy Williams is another name. They're both injured, so I don't know if there's a market for them. But there's going to be a fire sale. I really do believe that. You guys let me know in the comments if you agree with me on a fire sale potentially looming or not. And make sure you guys smash the like button if you did not already. Let's go Jets. Let's go Jets. MC2 can go. I don't know, man. I agree. We have a replacement for MC2, and that is our boy, Jarvis Brownlee Jr. Jarvis Brownlee Jr., really good, man. I'm excited for him. So I'm definitely expecting Michael Carter II to be gone. Absolutely expecting that to happen. Omar R says no trades. I hope no fire sale. People are talking about this, but are the Jets organization? We'll see. Trade Breece and Lazard to the Steelers. Yeah, I mean, I'll be down to trade Lazard there at least. Bro, I've been saying this. AG needs his own guys. Start fresh. Yeah, I mean, that's why I just went on a whole rant that they should not trade or not get rid of Aaron Glenn. Give him his chance to get his guys. That's very, very, very true. Very, very true. So make sure you guys hit the like button. What is the Jets' 2026 vision? Because we have the first overall pick right now as it's currently situated. You look at Tankathon, the Jets have the first overall pick. We have no wins. No wins yet. 0-6. The Titans have a win. The Saints even have a win. But the Jets do not. What is the vision for the 2026 Jets? And it's sad that we even have to make a video and talk about this topic right now. You know, in the middle of October, I don't want to be doing this. But the Jets are forcing me, man. They're forcing me to do it. This is the content that we have to start creating. We have to start talking about Dante Moore, Fernando Mendoza, Lenorris Sellers, Arch Manning, all the quarterbacks, because the Jets stink. You guys know me. If you've been watching my channel since I started or the last few years, you know it's the last thing in the world I want to do is talk about the draft and the offseason in October. But the Jets are giving me no choice. They're giving me no choice. So we got to talk about it, man. I think there's a lot of different approaches the Jets can go in the 2026 offseason. That's by either drafting a quarterback or trading that pick back and maybe going after a quarterback in free agency, maybe trading for a veteran quarterback, or maybe the Jets feel like Justin Fields proved himself maybe at the back end of the season, which we haven't seen yet. But I have a lot of things I want to break down right now. So make sure you guys hit the like button. Where do you expect the Jets to go in 2026? Are you watching these games in college football? We had Oregon and Indiana face off against each other this past weekend. Are you like tuned in to the NFL draft right now? Because I got to start doing it. As much as I want to avoid it, I can't. I got to face the reality. I got to face the truth. This is where we're at. This is where we're at, folks. And we got to embrace the darkness. Embrace it. So there's a real possibility here that the New York Jets are going to be picking with the first overall pick. But there's also a possibility, by the way, the Jets get a win. And maybe they get a few more wins. And all of a sudden, the Jets finish with 4 wins or 3 wins, and we don't get the first overall pick. But even if the Jets do not get the first overall pick, I think we can all agree that a quarterback is a very likely situation here. Justin Fields has never been a guy that I really genuinely believe deep down he was going to be our long-term future. When we signed him, of course, as a Jets fan, I became hopeful. Maybe if the Jets do this, and that, they can figured out a way to make him work. Maybe Fields can be the guy. That was all maybes, but I never really had a definitive feeling that Justin Fields would figure himself out. And I was told, that, hey, if Justin Fields does not work out, the 2026 quarterback class is pretty good. So you can find someone in the draft, so don't really worry about it if Fields does not look great. Well, Fields does not look good so far this season. He has not looked like a quarterback that I want to be our quarterback for the foreseeable future, if I'm being honest with you guys. So starting off with a guy like Fernando Mendoza, that's been a popular name. I think that the early mock drafts have him going to the Jets. They also have Dante Moore going to the New York Jets. But Fernando Mendoza is an interesting quarterback because he gives me interesting vibes. Like, he is a guy that I think fits the exact type of system the Jets are trying to build with Tanner Engstrand, because he gives me Jared Goff, Kirk Cousins, like, can rip it from the pocket. And he's a big guy, 6'5", a big body. And I think that Fernando Mendoza in this offense as a rookie, you never know. I like his confidence. I like his approach to the game. I like his vision. I've been studying film and learning a little bit more about him as a human, learning a little bit more about him off the field, how he approaches the game, his story. And I got to be honest, I'm impressed with Fernando Mendoza right now. Now, there's a long rest of the college football season to go. There's a long draft process that needs to go, the Senior Bowl, the draft combine, before I'm going to start really saying that he is the guy. But early on, man, I'm not going to lie, I like what I'm seeing. He can let that thing rip from the pocket, and I think that's something that this Jets team needs, because the problem with this offense right now is Justin Fields is holding it back a little bit because he's not able to process the field and not able to plant his back foot into the ground and let it rip outside the numbers with accuracy and timing, anticipation, putting the ball where it needs to be. And like, Fernando Mendoza has traits that I think will translate. I absolutely do. So early on, you never know. Fernando Mendoza could be the Jets quarterback. But the big question a lot of people have is, well, do we want this Jets regime to be the ones to develop a young quarterback? Do we want Aaron Glenn and Darren Muji and Tanner Engstrand to be responsible for a young quarterback? A lot of people are questioning that. Now, going back to Fernando Mendoza, he's right now has 1,400 yards, 17 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions with a QBR of 84.6. I think these are very solid numbers for the young kid. 6'5", 225 pounds. All right. He is a junior, so there's no guarantee he declares for the draft, but he is definitely one of those quarterbacks that is absolutely balling out right now. And he kind of has that NFL build to him. He definitely does have an NFL build where I can see translate to the next level. Now with the Jets, I don't know. The Jets are obviously a graveyard. We have been a organization that has not been able to prove we can develop quarterbacks properly. But the Jets are invested in Aaron Glenn. The Jets are invested in Darren Muji. So I think that they are going to give, this regime their opportunity to handpick their quarterback. And let's be honest with ourselves. Justin Fields was never like the guy. He was a placeholder. And maybe it's like one of those situations with Fields. It's like, all right, we'll bring in Fields as the bridge. If he balls out, becomes the guy, great. But if he doesn't, we kind of have an alternative-ish situation going on with him. Now, another quarterback is Dante Moore from Oregon. Now, he's definitely one of those guys that needs to show me a little bit more at the back end of this season before I'm really going to buy into him. But at 6'3", 206 pounds, he's got like Jaden Daniels kind of vibes, if you will, early on in my evaluation. But he's someone that kind of like definitely needs to show up in those big games, because that game against Indiana, I know that, there's film out there. He was balling out in games leading up to this one, but he had some pivotal mistakes in that game. And, how is he going to learn from it? How is he going to build off of it? And I think that Dante Moore is a quarterback that is being also mocked to the Jets early on in the process. I would be interested to see if how he progresses throughout his entire situation with the Oregon Ducks. I do feel like there's other quarterbacks as well that we have to bring up, which is Lenorris Sellers. Lenorris Sellers feels like a poor man's Justin Fields. Now, that's not a knock on him at all. I don't want to, disrespect Lenorris Sellers. I like him, but I don't know if I love him. I don't know if I look at him as like a top pick, and I'm not just looking at the stats here. Obviously, watching the film and understanding him as a quarterback is how you got to really approach the analysis and the breakdown of these young quarterbacks. But, he seems like another version of Justin Fields just from the standpoint of his strengths is an athlete, can make people miss in the open field with his legs. He's mobile. He's a freaking absolute unit at 6'3", 240 pounds. But the passing and the processing and the arm talent is in question. I don't know if I want the Jets to invest in a quarterback like Justin Fields. I know that they're building an offense around Fields right now, but I don't think that would be smart to do. So I do feel like Lenorris Sellers is not a guy, at least early on, that I would definitely consider drafting with the first overall pick if the Jets end up getting it. Now, there's another approach that I think some Jets fans need to keep an open mind when it comes to the offseason plan of 2026, what the vision could be. And this may surprise some people, but hey, you never know. Crazy things happen across the NFL every single offseason. Like quarterbacks, I think are about to be on the move. And I'm talking about veterans. I think there's a world where the Jets go after a veteran quarterback and trade down from that first overall pick and get a haul. I think that's another alternative plan. Now, I don't know who that quarterback is going to be. I have no idea, but I think that there's going to be a quarterback that the Jets could potentially be aggressive for. Now, you could argue, are the Jets really in a situation to do it? Maybe they would have to package that first-round pick for that said quarterback. Do they have the assets? Do they have the talent to even trade for a quarterback? We did this dance already with Aaron Rodgers. Do we want to go all in for a veteran? I don't know. I think that you got to keep all eyes open because just because the Jets get a top pick does not mean they even love a quarterback in the draft. Maybe they go the Giants approach and they draft the best player available like they did with Abdul Carter, and they like a quarterback later on in the draft they trade up for in the back end of the first round like they did with Jackson Dart. Or maybe Dak Prescott becomes available because Dallas is in a situation where his cap number is too high and they're not winning and Dak wants out. You never know. I would love Dak Prescott. I think it's very unrealistic. I'm not shy to admit that, but I think that a guy like Dak Prescott would be pretty fun coming over to the New York Jets. He's a solid quarterback, man. Another quarterback out there, not that I'd even want the Jets to go after him, but a guy that I can see moving on from his team is Kyler Murray. I don't want Kyler. I'll make that. I mean, right now at this stage, Kyler Murray coming to the Jets sounds like a little bit of not a good pairing. He's just not. And this is another thing. Speaking of Kyler Murray, I'm happy I brought him up because people that are in tank mode, I hope you guys realize getting the first overall pick guarantees you absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. All right? Because you look at the last first overall picks, the last 15, 13 years, they've not been great. The history of the first overall picks has not been great. And I think people are forgetting that. I think people are looking at the first overall picks as the guarantee. And I know we want to ticket to the best potential player in the draft, but let's start off with Cam Ward. Hey, bro, the Titans are another mess. Cam Ward does not look great, but so far we'll see. Caleb Williams, hey, man, he's starting to play well. We'll see what Caleb Williams does. I am a fan of Caleb Williams. Bryce Young, hey, he's playing decent football. We're playing him this week. All right, these are the last 3 first overall picks at quarterback. Travon Walker went in 2022. Trevor Lawrence, remember that year we tanked for Trevor? We were not able to get Trevor Lawrence. If the Jets did get Trevor Lawrence that year, would he still be our quarterback? He's winning now, but is he a generational talent? I don't know. Joe Burrow, as great as he is, he can't stay healthy. He's on Andrew Luck territory, which is really sad to say. Kyler Murray, another first overall pick in 2019 that we just talked about. Baker Mayfield, it took him to leave the Browns to become an MVP quarterback today. Jared Goff, Myles Garrett, Jameis Winston, Jadeveon Clowney. I mean, all I'm saying is the first overall pick does not guarantee you anything. That's why I'm not all in lose, we need that first. I'm not desperate. I'm not on my knees hoping the Jets lose so we get the first overall pick. It doesn't guarantee you anything. It really doesn't, bro. Josh Allen went 7th overall. Lamar Jackson went 32nd overall. Patrick Mahomes went 10th overall. So that's my approach to it. That's why I'm always not really a fan of the tank, and I never have been. And guess what? And I never, ever will be. All right. So it's a big risk here that the Jets are going to have to be making. And I know that we're talking draft and 2026 vision on this video right now, but you got to. The Jets are 0-6. And if they continue this trend of everything's losing, that's the only thing we can talk about is just that. Sad stuff, but it's the truth. Comment down below your thoughts about this topic. Love to hear what you guys have to say. And don't forget to smash the like button if you're not already. Let's freaking go Jets, man. Let's go Jets. Let's go, man. Someone says, you are a true fan, Richie. You would take a win over the tank. This is about, I watch this sport because it's about winning, man. It's about winning. Richie, you can trade the first overall pick for a haul and get players that Glenn want. I'm down. I'm also down for that. Bring Zach back. I don't know about that. First overall picks can guarantee hauls of picks or top quarterbacks. It's 50-50. Got to be smart, Richie. Facts. You got to be smart if the Jets do get it. Of course, they got to operate it with complete focus. Complete focus. All right? Where will the Jets go? And it's crazy that we're talking about this, but the Jets are giving me no reason to not. But hey, I don't know if you guys remembered. I don't know if you guys remember this, but the New York Jets are taking on the Carolina Panthers on Sunday, a team that is coming off another big win. Bryce Young playing really good football. Their running back filling in for Chuba Hubbard, Rico, is absolutely balling. The 0-6 Jets are hosting the 3-3 Carolina Panthers. You guys let me know right now in the comments, do you have any hope of the Jets pulling off an upset? Because I'm telling you this, and I'm going to say it every single preview, every single week. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. The Jets are not going 0-17 this year. And maybe that's just me saying that because I cannot fathom that being a reality. But they're going to win a game. And I'm going to keep saying that it's going to start this week until proven otherwise. Because the Jets lost to the Denver Broncos on Sunday in London. But it's not like they got blown out, they got killed. There was some promising, encouraging things in that game that if the Jets can build on, they have a chance here. And it starts with their defense. The New York Jets defensively absolutely changed everything. Now, the big problem now with the Jets moving forward is this. Garrett Wilson's hurt. So that's why I bring up the defense as the X factor in this game. Because there is no pass attack anymore. There's no more Garrett Wilson for the next few weeks. So Arian Smith is going to be elevated to what? Wide receiver 2, 3? I'd rather him be number 1 receiver. We have Josh Reynolds going to be running routes. We have Alan Lazard running routes. Tyler Johnson, not good. Not good. So the only way the Jets can pull off the upset in this game is if their defense is completely lights out. And it's not going to be easy to do. The Carolina Panthers just beat the Dallas Cowboys, a team the Jets were not able to beat. And I feel like we are deeply in evaluation mode with this football team. It's not just the players, it's the coaches. We're evaluating Aaron Glenn. We're evaluating Tanner Engstrand. We're evaluating Steve Wilkes. And I've said this throughout the week already, but I want to remind everybody about this. Aaron Glenn's Jets has been very consistent in how they've been losing up until Denver's game. A lot of the issues that they kept talking about is going to get fixed kept happening, and they finally fixed it against Denver, and that was the penalties, the turnovers, and the defense. Those 3 things got fixed. That was one game. So let's see. Are those issues going to remain fixed? Are they going to just have 2 penalties and limit those back-breaking mental penalties that they've had? Are they going to force another turnover? Are they going to win the turnover battle again? Is their defense going to look much improved? If that happens again, like if the Jets go up against Carolina, the penalties are low, they win the turnover battle, and their defense is playing really well, I find it hard for the Jets not to win because as annoying of the Denver Broncos team was, their defense is top tier. The Panthers defense is not top tier. They're a solid defense. I'm not saying they're a bad, trash defense. They're not. They're a good defense, but they're not great. They're not elite. They don't have the sack leader, Nick Benito, coming off the edge. They don't have the defensive player of the year lined up outside. The problem, though, is matchups. The Jets don't have Garrett Wilson. So where is the pass attack going to come from? Justin Fields is obviously still going to be the quarterback, and this is a game where he's going to have to really prove that you can bounce back off of a bad effort. Justin Fields just got to let it fly, man. You got nothing to lose. And Garrett Wilson said it really well in the post-game press conference after their loss to the Broncos. And it's sad he's not going to be playing in this game, it seems, with the hyperextension of his knee. But he said that, we got nothing to lose right now. Let's let it rip. Let's let it go. I'm hopeful, we'll see. The Jets' offensive game plan needs to be nothing but aggressiveness. Because if they go conservative and they're like, all right, no Garrett Wilson, that means we're just going to run. That means we're just going to run. That means we're just going to run. And you don't even try to throw the football. Justin Fields is limited, and that's not a secret to anybody. He's not processing the field well. He's not going to, the open quick out routes when it's there in time. He's late on a lot of throws. But maybe you take those weaknesses and you find some of his strengths and you optimize that. Get Justin Fields moving. He's not Jared Goff. And he's not a good quarterback. I'm not afraid to admit that. Justin Fields is not a good enough quarterback. Now, the weird thing about Justin Fields is last year with Pittsburgh, he's 4-2 in 6 games. This year's 0-6 with the Jets, so you can take that as you will. But the Jets have not been successful with Justin Fields ever since that first game against the Pittsburgh Steelers. That was the only game where Justin looked actually like a good quarterback, where I'm like, that is a guy you can win with. After week 1, I'm like, dude, that is a really good quarterback. Fields was making throws, but what happened? Defenses are now game planning against him and completely shutting him down. That's what happened. And I think that him not being able to pre-snap, understand what defenses are coming is really, really frustrating. Absolutely, really, really frustrating. So what's going to be the offensive game plan now? How are the shifts of this offense going to look? And I think that, without Garrett Wilson, there needs to be a complete shift. And this is another thing that needs to change. Breece Hall is going to get traded, probably, but he's still on this team for this game. Why did Breece Hall get 0 targets in the pass attack? All I heard all offseason is that the Jets are going to utilize Breece as a weapon. And now you have to use Breece as a weapon out of the backfield through the air. You have no choice. The fact that he had no targets is ridiculous. Not a screen pass, not a check down, not Breece Hall, you got to get this guy the ball in space. And the Jets got to rely on Breece in this game. Hey, boost that trade value. That's how I look at it. I don't want to trade Breece, but I'm accepting that's a reality. So let's just boost his trade value. Let's feed Breece Hall. He should be the entire offensive game plan in this one. Through the air, not just on the ground. So that's something you got to watch for this game against the Carolina Panthers, utilizing Breece Hall through the air. Arian Smith. Can we utilize this guy's speed? The Jets tried their first attempt to throwing the football to him down the football field on Sunday against the Broncos. It took you to week 6 to try. Yeah, it wasn't successful, but do it again. Try it again. Get Arian Smith. If you can see that there's man coverage with just a single high safety with not help over the top, let Arian Smith put on the burners and let him go. And hopefully you can trust Justin Fields to put it on the bucket, which is rare, but hey, you never know. Take a shot. You got nothing to lose, man. The Jets got to open up this offense and not just – and the reason why I say they need to open up the offense is this. I understand Justin Fields is limited. He does not thrive in that type of environment, but I don't care anymore. This is evaluation mode. Go out there and rip it, Fields. And it's not on the coaches. I know last week I was like, the coaches got to give Fields a chance. They gave him the chance, and he completely failed. Keep giving him the chances, and Justin Fields got to keep proving to everybody who he is. Because if you're not a quarterback that can take a check down when it's right in front of your face, when you can't take your time, when you do take your time on a quick out route and you're late on throws, you're not an NFL starting quarterback in this league with that type of approach. So the Jets absolutely must get some receivers open early, and Fields just got to get the ball out fast. And I know it's easier said than done, but of Justin Fields' perspective, it's not easy. It's easier said than done around the league. Everybody does it. Any good quarterback lets that ball fly. Even Michael Penix on Monday Night Football for the Falcons, I was very impressed with him because he dropped back, he let it out with his left hand, just slinging it all over the field. Like, you got to get rid of the ball within the first 3 seconds. If you hold the ball for 5+ seconds, it's going to be an absolute failure. What's the run game going to look like? Because the run game has been hit or miss. Now, defensively, Jermaine Johnson, Jarvis Brownlee. Even if Michael Carter II's healthy, I don't expect him to play. I think Jarvis Brownlee just stole his job. Jarvis Brownlee Jr. in that secondary looked like the best player on defense throughout the entire season against the Broncos. How is he going to look? I think that the defensive strategy needs to be whatever the heck they did against the Denver Broncos, because that worked. That absolutely worked. They were disciplined. They were aggressive. They blitzed at the right times. They were sticky in coverage. They protected the end zone. They played really good on third down. It wasn't a perfect game for them against the Broncos defensively, but they did enough. And now you have Rico Dowdle, Bryce Young, Ted McMillan. Like, you got some playmakers. You got some young guys. This is a young Panthers team that is finding their stride, finding some confidence. And they're a pretty good offense right now in these last few weeks. Like, a really good offense, putting in really good numbers. Sauce Gardner against Ted McMillan. That's a matchup I'm watching. If Ted McMillan just goes out there and just balls out against Sauce Gardner, like, that would be absolutely ridiculous. Sauce, this is finally your game to have a bounce back. And when I say bounce back, like, go make a play. Go get an interception. Go force a fumble, Sauce Gardner, because, you know, you're paid as the top guy. You're not playing like one. Jets fans are really getting sick and tired of it. And I want to see Sauce ball out more than anybody else, bro. So go out there and make some plays, man. Jamie Sherwood, he's coming off one of his better halves of the season. The first half was a little rough in the coverage, but when it came to the second half, he started making plays in the clutch. And that's the cool thing about the Jets defense I saw against the Broncos. They got better as the game went on. They started playing really good football in the third and fourth quarter. That's where you want to play your best defense. Yes, they gave up a touchdown in that first half at the end of the first quarter against the Broncos, but they did not allow a touchdown for the remainder of the game. So the defense, if they can force turnovers and be opportunistic and get into the philosophy and what they were trying to do with Steve Wilks all this time, that would be awesome. So I don't know if it's going to happen, but the Jets got to get their hands on this football. They got to force turnovers, bro. Go take the ball away. That's how this defense is going to break through, because all it takes is a breakthrough. And it's really unfortunate that the offense was so putrid against Denver that was not the game where we won. Because if Justin Fields just went down and got Nick Folk in field goal range and we won the game in London, the Jets are 1-4 or 1-5, excuse me. And we have a taste of victory. All it takes is one win sometimes for a team like the Jets to break through. And what I mean by breakthrough, I just don't mean being like just out there. They're pressing, bro. They're playing scared. They're getting coached scared. They're playing scared. They got to be free. They got to let that stress out. They got to stop playing like they got something to lose. You got to play like you got nothing to lose. You got to go out there and put everything out on the line. And Aaron Glenn has got to be better at that 100%. It seems like Aaron Glenn is coaching this team not to lose rather than coaching this team to win. And that's not a trait you want. That's not a trait that you want to see, bro. So the Jets got to be better. And it starts with the head coach of this football team. It starts with Aaron Glenn, because everybody's going to keep holding him accountable, just like I am. Just because I'm saying that I don't want him to be fired right away does not mean I'm not going to publicly criticize the man, because he has a lot of reasons to be critical. We have a lot of reasons to be critical of Aaron Glenn, but I'm not going to ignore the improvements I'm seeing. I'm not just going to be blind to it, because this season is all about laying the foundation, and the Jets have a chance to get their first win against the Panthers. And this is the NFL, bro. Crazy things happen. The Giants beat the Eagles. Like, I understand the Jets are the worst team in football right now at 0-6, but I am going to keeping my hope alive. And it's the Jets are without Garrett Wilson, so it's hard to keep the hope alive. But at the end of the day, man, I know a win's going to come eventually. So you guys let me know where you stand on the Jets-Panthers game. Are you checked out? Are you even watching the game? Are you not even, like, caring about what happens? Let me know in the comments. Don't forget to hit the like button as well. Oh, boy. This is going to be interesting to see what happens in this game, Jets and Panthers. We got a super chat from my boy, Hennessy Heisman. Sorry, Richie, we need an offensive-minded head coach. If we get the number 1 overall pick, you call Cliff Kingsbury and tell him, pick your quarterback. Yeah, I mean, obviously, that is something that Jets fans are going to be talking about, especially if the Jets go out there and get the first overall pick. If they get the first overall pick, that means they win how many games? 1, 2, 3, 4? So I think that that's an interesting thing we got here. Where do you guys stand? Would you want the Jets to fire Glenn and go get Cliff Kingsbury to be the head coach to get your quarterback? Let me know in the comments. Maybe I'm just in denial more than anything. Maybe I'm just a fan that is just in denial that that's going to happen, because it would be so embarrassing if we do a one and done. And I know the Patriots did it, but they had Mike Vrabel waiting. That's the big difference there. Want to give a big shout out to Sleeper, the proud sponsor of Jets Media all season long. If you guys want to use my code JETS, you guys will get a 100% match up to $100 on your Sleeper app. Using the code JETS will do just that. You guys get $20 for free when you use my code JETS. That is $20 immediately when you log into the app and you make an account with my code. And then when you want to put some money in, they will match it up to $100. So basically, you put $20 in, they'll give you $20 for free. And on top of that, you get another additional $20 for free. So that's free money you get to play. Please bet responsibly. You guys can pick a lot of awesome parlays, over-unders, win up to 100x your money. So a big shout out to Sleeper for sponsoring Jets Media all season long. Man, this guy, you guys are awesome in the chat. I love you guys. We got a long season to go, but it's been rough. But I'll be here with you guys throughout it all. I'm going to wrap up the show here. Salute to everybody in the chat. I love you guys as always. It's been a rough season, no doubt about it. But hey, we're in this together. We'll see who gets traded in these next few weeks. But I'm out. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Peace out, folks.